another leg day. Yeah, last week I uploaded was leg day with Cam. Here we were leg day with Cam Hill. If my voice sounds weird, it's because I'm ill.
Oh, you thought that?
Yeah, I know.
I hope this training can get you better.
Yeah, man.
Training legs, just got to let it out.
Yeah, I heard if you train legs, like, I don't know, you can
boost your metabolism.
Boost your metabolism. Boost your testosterone. So much testosterone that my white blood cells are gonna like double. They're gonna hypertrophy. We've had a bit of a like Jesus and Joseph moment because we've kicked out all the ins.
Yeah.
And we're finally, this is us in the stable, which is getting us a great gym. What do you think of the gym?
I've never been there, to be honest, but it's very
old
school.
It's the quietest I've seen in a long time.
Just probably better for us as well.
Train the carbs. Yeah, there are some fucking big boys who train here. It's like an old school gym. It's quite nice. It's the type of gym that like Conor would love. Do with that as you go. We're going to start off with, I don't know how to sit. New calves, abs, adductor, some kind of ham curl, then a hinge, some kind of quad leg extension. We'll see, and then probably a press. And yeah, we'll also give you updates on what we're doing and all that crap.
Yeah, how's it going?
Cue the montage.
You've got to prime what is, and doing those things prior to doing, your quad work, which is arguably the most difficult thing to do as bodybuilder, or the most intense. You're able to, one, prime your joints in order to lift those weights, but two, get ready mentally to take yourself to that place. So you might see, even though it's a calf press, it's not really intimidating exercise. I'll be sitting there getting in the fucking zone, because that's what it takes to then finish my session on the high note and really take my quad work where I need to take it.
There's literally no reason to put last. There's literally none. Like, you put them first, you get them done, you get them out of the way. No one finishes a heavy set of quads and goes, oh, carbs. It primes your body. Like, your perception of load after getting some weight through your feet. Like, I don't know about you, but like me just standing here, I feel a bit more switched on. If I go on the floor all day, I can feel it. My ankles are primed, I'm feeling warm, I'm feeling ready. If the first thing I do when I walk in the gym, after getting down on my calf is going through like a million plates on my back, it's not going to happen. But like, the calf raise, you can still take to failure. Yeah. You can still piss around as well. So then when it goes to the end of the session, I've done enough sets to failure to still switch on. So there's literally no reason to ever put up box. Even if your calves are not a priority like mine, still just get out of the way. The only exception to that calf thing, like I said, is if your ankle is a little bit fucky. Two things I'd say to that. One, is you can always just warm up before your calf raise. And two, if your ankles are consistently fucky, you can't do calf raises first. Chat to this man. Because you shouldn't just be putting up with crap joints. Like,
no.
Don't just live with it. There's no reason to.
Exactly, and the longer you leave it, the worse it's going to get. So if you don't do something about it now, later down the line, even though it's not impacting, your day-to-day activity, it's just impacting gym, and it can start impacting day-to-day activity. You could be getting pain when you're walking, obviously doing work, stuff like that, and it becomes a real issue then. So
even if it impacts 1 out of 10 workouts, it's actively impacting your muscle growth. Exactly. Like, even if it's just, I have to warm up beforehand, okay, that warm up time you could be putting into other sets to grow more. It's still costing you progress. And if you're a coach, that's costing you livelihood. So again, chat to come. A lot of people put too much credence on rep range, like 5 to 8, 5 to 30, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Like, you'll see me use my lightest load of the set first. So I do a high rep set and then I'll go heavier and drop the reps. And it's just because they're still above 5, they still feel calm. That first set I use more as a warm up anyway. Again, as long as it's a good set, my calves feel decent, my ankles feel decent, it's more than 5 reps. It does not matter, it literally does not matter. I'm not always gonna do it this way around, but sometimes I will. So don't worry too much. With rep ranges, the way that I would view it almost is like a minimum. So like on a lateral, I'm aiming for a minimum of 8.
but as long as I do a set 2 failure, we should be good. You're very rarely going to accidentally go too high rep. Like, you're very rarely going to accidentally be like, oops, I did 34 reps. Like, no one really does that. So don't worry so much about rep ranges. They don't matter as much as people think. It's about execution and exercise selection.
Instead of just sticking to rep ranges for everything, use your fucking logic. It's like, am I going to set, you know, a 6 to 8 rep range for bicep curl for a person? I might only do 15 to 20. Same for, you know, if I do a hack squat, am I set for a client? Am I going to give them, you know, 20, 25 reps? Unlikely. Use your logic, because we can't always stick to one rep range, because what might work for one person might not work for another. So it's about being tailored towards your client, understanding what works best for them. You know, we can go a bit more in depth into, you know, what percentage of muscle fibers are they dominant in? Are they fast twitch? Are they low twitch? That could help you dictate, but also what they actually enjoy doing. That's the single most important thing. If a client doesn't enjoy training high reps, don't fucking give them high reps. Or vice versa, if they enjoy training low reps, don't give them high reps.
I think fast twitch, low twitch is also very underrated. The more muscular someone is, the more fast twitch dominant they're going to be typically. And you can figure that out based on their recovery. So their numbers set to set, their ability to, well, how long they rest between sets, how well they grow.
Come on, easy. Still you, I ain't fucking touching it. Come on, drive. Good. That's
and again.
And again, yes. Here we go. Drive.
Yep. Fucking hell, man.
I put my hand there just to make you feel more comfortable. I didn't touch it. I do that quite a lot. It's something that we discussed in the last videography session. So when you're spotting someone, don't just lift up the weight for them. Most of the time when I actually spot someone on their last rep, I just touch it for the sake of making them feel more comfortable that someone's supporting them. I don't actually help them lift it at all. And like that gentle touch is enough to stimulate them psychologically in order so they actually push themselves and finish the rep. It's a perfect example. I literally didn't touch it. Or sorry, I did touch it, but I didn't put any force behind it, and Jack still managed to finish the rep. So warming up your hip flexors prior to doing squat patterns, hinges, stuff like that, super, super important to stay healthy. So make sure to warm up your hip flexors.
Yeah, what you said. When you do anything hanging leg raise, you want to work your abs, try not to keep your back flat against the pad. So if you're keeping your back flat against the pad, you're keeping your spine straight. If you're keeping your spine straight, keeping your abs straight. So what we want is that kind of crunch. So as we bring up our leg, we want the lower back to round, because we want the abs to contract, and for these positions to get closer to each other, your back has to round over. So a lot of people will preach, keep your back flat against the pad. Don't do that. If you keep your back flat against the pad, you get a ton of hip flexor, but not a lot of ab. You can do that, but I don't see why you would not just do back rounding off the pad, get a bit of both. And if you really have hip flexor issues that you want to train, just cuff it. Or even just do it body weight, because hip flexors are pretty weak anyway. So there's other ways to train them that doesn't mean taking away from your abs. Fucking hell, man.
Bodybuilder, sorry, I wear rags.
I remember I went like, I was talking to a mate about charity shopping, and it's a mate who just like is pretty casual about training. And he's like, oh bro, you got to go to charity shops. And I was like, they don't make shit of my size. And he was like, they do large. And I was like, I'm 2X. Yeah. He was like, all right, never mind then.
This is the thing, the more people get into bodybuilding, I think there's an element of body dysmorphia, but also like, I prefer wearing large clothes, especially with joggers. Like if I have joggers that are really tight, it's just uncomfortable. You start chafing, you start getting sweaty. Yeah. It's like, these are 3XL, and yeah, they're large, they fucking droop on me, but like they're so fucking comfortable, and I wouldn't wear anything else.
When I do my own leg days, I superset calves with bodyweight tips. I don't progress it that much, I just kind of do it just to get like sensation in there.
And it's for safety purposes, like I said. You always want to train antagonist muscle groups so you don't get imbalances.
So we did seated calves, we did abs, now we're on to adductor. Adductors before like your ham and quad work is completely fine. The only time that it would be an issue is with hinging or pressing or squatting. There is adductor involved in those. So if you're doing a lot of hip dominant stuff there and you find that doing the adductor really takes away from that loading, then sure, I wouldn't do it. But if your hinges are pretty ham focused or pretty knee focused, if your squatting or pressing is pretty quad focused, pretty knee focused, you're not really going to notice that much of a difference with this. You can always play around. For me, I've never finished a set of hinges after adductor and said, fuck, my adductors are dead. I've never finished a squat and pattern and said, fuck, my adductors are dead. So I know I can get away with it. The same way that if you're trying to decide whether you should do side delts before pressing to see if it helps your shoulder or not, just have a play around and just see, okay, how does it feel after doing one or the other? If you can get it done out the way before your heavy hitters, what the fuck am I trying to say? Then sure, get it out of the way. But like, if you do a ton of really hip dominant stuff, like really wide stance, maybe got really big legs, you got fucked up hips, and you find that whatever reason you want your adductors to be super fresh for that, then yeah, don't train them here. Also, a lot of these are super short focused anyway, so you might as well get them done first.
You look really handsome.
Shut the fuck up.
Clapping them cheeks. Good. Come on. Good.
Fuck me, man.
Good.
Here we go.
Good. Good. There's more. Come on. Yeah, at least 4. Come on. Good. Finish it. With me, with me. 1, 1, 1. Don't be a bitch. Come on. Yes. Finish.
At least 4, he says, fucking hell.
So why having a training partner is so important. Especially when you're going for a prep and training just becomes a chore. Training with another person who's able to stimulate you and push you enough so you maintain progressions is crucial. One thing that I noticed when I was training by myself, your want to train, what got you into bodybuilding in the first place, is gone. Because when you're deep into prep, shit's out the fan. Like literally you feel fucked all times. And training just becomes another tick box or a chore. So it's so important to have another person to ground you and to make sure that you're still keeping those progressions so you don't fucking lose muscle and be a little bitch.
Yep. That's you. Come on now. Good shite.
During my training performance has gone up significantly in the past like 4 weeks ever since I started bumping up food again. Your ability to maintain the intensity throughout a set goes down so much when you're when you're going through prep or you're in a cut. The first couple reps might feel the same as if you're in a bulk, but those last couple reps become so much more difficult. So it's so important to stay fucking locked in. Keep doing the work.
Blah, blah, blah. All right, we got...
Okay, none of that.
All right, we've got a line ham curl up next. I need to bring you guys on like a normal session because there's usually a bit more that goes into exercise selection than just what we're doing today. Today, because we're visitors, we're like, fuck it, we want it to hinge. A hinge is, we're gonna run it as ham dominant. It's gonna be hardest in the stretch. So what we're gonna do beforehand, something a bit more contraction focused. It's nice to also have a challenge to the hamstrings where your hips are somewhat extended, whereas obviously in the bottom of a hinge where challenge is greatest, your hips are flexed. So it's nice to have that little bit of variety to the hamstrings. Typically, if you're looking at training a muscle, you want to train it through a variety of contractile ranges, so short to long, but also you want to train it through a variety of different joint actions. If you're running like standing, kneeling, and lying ham curl, there's a lot of redundancy there. But if you're running lying and seated, bellissima. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Basic shit.
I might actually be able to stack it as well.
Cheers!
It's so heavy in the length end.
Yeah, I rate that though.
Good. Come on. Still you. Finish it. 1. Come on. With me.
Fucking hell, man.
So heavy in the lengthening, isn't it? Well,
Yes.
at neutral.
It's severe.
Yeah.
Woo. Go for the fucking stack.
Well, what, am I gonna get 2 reps? Like,
Nah, bro, go for it.
fuck it. Don't do this at home, kids. This is how you get loads of injuries. I know I'm the injury specialist and I'm meant to tell you how to train safely. Do as I say, not as I do.
Now we know why the title of this video is Camille Tears a Ham. No! A&E called to the gym. Come on then. Oh, easy. And again, and again. Yep. Little touch. Good.
So fucking heavy. I couldn't get it short properly.
Yeah.
That last like 10%. That was heavy. That was really.
Whenever you're doing a movement, the range of motion that you pick doesn't need to be to its fullest. It should be as full as you can realistically get. But if you notice on movements like this, as soon as you get like 3 or 4 reps away from failure, you're just not getting it fully short. That's fine, just keep it consistent. It's kind of the same thing with pull-ups or adductor. As long as you're being consistent with where you cut that ROM, that's fine. The only times I would do it is where if you stopped doing reps when you got full contraction, you're still like, you could still rinse a little bit out of it, then obviously that's where I do it. Another thing you could do is, because we're gonna run 2 sets on this, you could do 1 set where you go like fucking ankle to arse all the way up, and then you could do another set where you don't quite do that. But even then, if you look at like most people's mobility, like that's the most I've realistically got. I can't get my ankle to my arse. So if I'm gonna do that, it's probably gonna be based on momentum. So you can make a good case for how short should I get it? Boop, that short. The bigger your hamstrings get, the bigger your calves get, the bigger that gap gets. So it's gonna be harder and harder to do. There you go, write that down.
Come on. Come on. Still you. Come on. Good, squeeze. Now you had that.
That lengthen is mad.
It is, isn't it? It creeps up on you because the first couple reps you're like throwing around. You're like, oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
I get like 12 reps. Get to 8 and you're like, oh.
Looking at your strength, it should, to some degree, line up with your physique. If you have a very, very strong body part or very strong pattern, like I'm decently strong at pressing, but that musculature development isn't there, then there is cause for concern. However, the one thing I would say is I'm getting decently strong at pressing now. This is also the most my pressing musculature has grown. So even though there's probably a little bit of disproportionateness, that's a real word, look it up, there's still that progression I'm happy with. I would say that the amount of strength I've gained has reflected visually. Generally, some of my stronger body parts, back and quads, are quite weak in terms of like raw strength. And I'm kind of okay with that because if I do get them strong, I'll get good return on investment, but it's always worth assessing and try not to get too attached to what you're doing. That's why I pause my dumbbell presses, but I still move the 60s. Come on, I'm pleased with that.
For those of you that don't know, I joined the academy probably about 5-ish months ago, 6 months ago. So I was learning how to become a coach. Obviously I have a background in osteopathy because that's what I do at uni. So I got a good general knowledge of, how the body works, injuries, etc., etc. There was a lot of like in the gap information that I needed to fill in. Obviously after using the academy and studying for a while, I got to know like through Instagram pages being like, oh, a lot of people are actually chatting so much shit. I remember messaging Jack, I was like, how does this not piss you off? He was like, yeah, it does, but you just get fucking used to it. It's like, I literally will go on my Instagram and just start scrolling and I'll just get pissed off at some of the shit people are claiming.
To him, heads up, I was like, if we do legs, like, I'm gonna be fucky about my knees. And he was like, all right, calm. But when he picked legs, we picked legs. A little bit of hand mobility that I lack. Tilt that pelvis. Tilt it in. Good, that's it. And back. Better, good. Nice, mate. Breathe, good, yep, yep, yep. More than you think. 1 rep at a time. Stay in, stay in, stay in. Good, good, good. Think about your hips. Pelvis, 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 pelvis. Don't you dare lose that tightness. Good. Pause. Good, 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 good. Beautiful. Breathe, breathe. Take your breath later. Breathe normally, breathe normally, breathe normally. Breathe in. Good, that was good. Nice. Take that final breath later. Not used to higher reppers.
I don't want to take the piss.
It's calm, it's calm. As you go through that set, fuck it, this is advice for everyone. As you go through a set, your reps get slower and slower. So you have to breathe later and later. So you almost have to actively think, instead of just patterning the same breath every few couple of seconds or whatever it is, like most people's internal rhythm does, or do, whatever grammar makes sense there. You have to breathe later and later, because your eccentrics get slower and slower. So then you end up breathing halfway here, and then you've still got all this way to travel with your breath, and people gas out.
I feel like for people who are more intermediate to advanced, breath work or your ability to breathe is a big factor that you need to start taking into consideration. When obviously focus on the basics, like setup, execution, once those variables are dialed in, breathing effectively is super, super important. Say for example, you're on a machine where there's external stability, you taking a really deep breath might get rid of that stability, for example on a press, or if you're doing like a lat pull down, if you're breathing in, because your lats use your rib cage as leverage through the thoracolumbar fascia. If you're taking a deep breath as you're pulling down, you're taking away leverage from the lat, which is going to mean it's weaker. So it's definitely a variable that you need to take into consideration if you're really trying to optimize and nail those variables within your sets. Good. Good. Brace, brace. Good. Good. One. Come on. Good. Good.
That felt better.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah, a little bit.
The run was better. We're doing
Leg extensions with nothing to hold.
We've picked the leg extension where the machine is tethered to the middle, because often when you get one that's tethered to the side, you get like a little bit of unevenness, particularly because this gym has older kit, so it's probably not maintained. So
It's not optimal, bro.
it's not fun for anyone if the kit's uneven.
As you can see, Jack is using a belt as well. So specifically with this piece of kit, like we said, there's nothing to hold on. So every time, obviously with this is a warm-up weight, but if he was doing a heavier weight, extending his quads is going to shoot his hips into extension and, you know, take tension off the quads and put it onto the hip joint, which is not what we're trying to achieve in this lift. So by using a seat belt, we're pinning our hips down so we can fully contract our quads without shooting out. So we're getting just that little bit extra out of this movement, which is obviously what we want.
What he said. Lovely.
Come on. Good.
When you're setting up the seatbelt, make sure you have it pulling diagonally because leg extensions arc. They're not just horizontal or vertical, they move, well, are in an arc, which is basically diagonal. So you want the constraint that you're using the seatbelt to be diagonal. If it was just pulling you back or down, you're missing out another component of the arc. Good fucking man, here we go. Good. Yep. Beautiful, mate. Fuck. Hands free.
Good. Lovely, Rom. Come on. Come on. Still you. Good.
Oh, miles better, holy shit. Okay, moral of the story. If you have a set you completely misjudge, don't be a pussy, do a high rep set. I definitely should have dropped to 3. I did. That's 20 reps or something like that. Good. Don't think, just fucking do. Good. Drive. Drive. Don't you dare slow down, keep it going, come on. It's 3 fucking plates, come on. And again. Keep going, I got you. Yep. More. Don't fucking pussy out. Don't pussy out. Stop. Yep. Stop. Yep. Fuck. All right, fun fact for the viewers at home. We now have to record a bunch of reels that you guys have probably already seen on our Instagrams. So if over the past like month or however long, or if the coming month, I don't know when I'm going to drop them, you see a whole bunch of reels of us being like, this is why. We always film reels at the end. We should probably stop doing that.
Yeah,
anyway.
Why do we do this sort of stuff?
I don't know.
We always film them at the end.
Cam, put your thing on screen, promote yourself. This is our videographer, Cam. If you want to reach out to him, then he's put his details on screen. If he doesn't want you to reach out, then he's edited this out.
He's going to tell you to fuck off.